welcome back to Dynasty Football. Maniacs. I think I got it out right.
Yeah, you did.
uh, man, a wild week in the NFL. I, I- man, Lions are getting beat up. They're still doing very well. They lost David Montgomery now. I mean,
There's,
it's like the whole that defense and offense is getting like ripped apart.
but they still somehow, they still somehow find a way to win.
And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So
Except for since they played the Bills. But the Bills are just on a juggernaut right now.
well, see, the Bills always get on that juggernaut and they do well, and then they choke in the preseason. So it's like I sit there and I've watched Josh Allen do it last year, the year before. You know he's going to make it. Is he going to choke? Is he like a Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson always made it with the Baltimore most of the time, and then he got to the point where he just something happened, and I don't know if the clicking stops or whatever. Where then
Well,
you
it,
get.
it ain't. I think that's a team thing. I don't think it's just
I don't think it's
with
just a
just
player
the
either.
player. They've always had some kind of incident or something that always kept them from going even farther.
Yeah, I remember when the Broncos, when John Elway first made it to his first Super Bowl, it was like he went to four in a row almost.
Well, I
and
mean,
and then he didn't win until his fifth one. So
Well,
it's like,
when it's kind of like when Jim Kelly, when he was playing for Buffalo, they went
oh
to four
yeah.
straight Super Bowls, but they didn't win any.
No, no. And Elway finally won one. Well, he won two actually.
Hmm.
So it took four tries of losing. And I think one year he was in the playoffs and didn't make it to the Super Bowl, if I look it up correctly. But he just had a pretty good record. He had almost a similar record to Brady. The difference is he didn't win as much as Brady did. So it's like it's a little
Mm.
different. I don't know if I should even have said that.
I
Um,
think it's all out for the table at this point.
yeah, but yeah, I'm saying they're getting beat up. Cooper Cup choked with a big zero for all you fantasy folks out there.
Man, let me tell you something.
Whew,
This is it still bothers me because so get this. This is in my dynasty, and obviously, and for most people, we're the playoffs started this week, or yeah, last week actually. It started last week. Um, and I had the odds going up against me by the time it came to Monday night because I'm in the first round, and I had two players left play on Monday night, and he had four players left on Monday night, and immediately, just like I'm sure everybody else would think this, you're like, dang, I am going to get destroyed because he actually had three different defensive players and Darnell Mooney.
hmm.
Darnell Mooney's actually was been doing pretty good without Kirk Cousins turning the ball over a lot and stuff. But he's still been doing good last month. And I only had Jesse Bates and Jordan Addison, so I was like, okay, there's no way. Guess how many points I lost by?
How many points?
I actually only lost by maybe 1.5.
Oh,
I like lost by 1.5 or somewhere in that ballpark. Like literally, it actually came so close.
oh man. It,
And now it's gonna haunt me all off season.
well, the only reason I brought up Cooper Cup, and I would have brought him up anyways if I'd have found out he got a big zero. But the only reason I got to see it so quick was the guy I was up in the matchup had him as a wide receiver.
Mm,
And then I seen him get the big fat zero. Now I ended up winning, moving on to the next round, which is because I was not projected to win. I was projected to lose by like 27 points. It was crazy. I was like, I was dreading this whole week. So I was thinking, man, I made it to the playoffs. I'm ranked number fourth in the league, but I'm predicted to lose by 27 points. Now, how is that possible?
right.
So I'm sitting here sweating bullets, and man, his team like tanked. I mean, a lot of these players he had that normally would score big tanked, and Cooper Cup tanked big. He did have Puka Nuka too, which is crazy because I was looking at it. Why would you play two wide receivers from the same team? I looked at his bench. He had other teams, other players with wide receivers he could have played. I would have never done that in a playoff game. I don't
Mm.
care what the steady scores are because at the end of the season, everybody's out focused to win. So whoever's connecting is going to get that ball more. They're not going to spread the love during the preseason or close to the preseason. It gets this time of season, it gets crazy and it gets balanced. It does because the players they usually focus with are who they stay with. Watching David
Uh,
Montgomery fall off, you're going to see Jamar Gibbs pick up, but like Dan Campbell said, we can't abuse him because he's all we got left. Montgomery's not coming back this season. Either is Derek Carr. They're both going to be ruled out for the season. That's just like and Derek Carr's for the Saints. That's a whole different subject, which is
well,
crazy who they got starting that game.
so I'm gonna bring something up before we deep dive into next week and stuff. Um, this is a time around the year where and well, this is particularly you could do this for redraft, but particularly for dynasty players, this is the time of year you would really want to look up. And this is just me because I'm a nerd, but look up the players that you have and look up their contracts and look up their incentives because this is the time of the year where even crappy teams they're still playing because some of the players are still playing for something. You know what I mean?
Yes, they're trying to
Yeah.
get that bonus.
Yeah. So they, you could be like, you know, kind of like how I'll give a perfect example that I remember greatly, and it's last year with CD Lamb. If he got, we already done clinched the playoffs, but around the fourth quarter, he was still thrown out there. You know, for a common fan, you're like, well, that don't make no sense. Why would you throw him out there if he's gonna get hurt? But what he was really going for was, that bonus of he just needed like a few more catches and like maybe 50 yards more.
Yep.
That way he can get, 1 point whatever million or 100,000 or whatever.
Yeah, some
Point is,
incentive.
the
Yep.
point is, look at the contracts, look at your incentives, because you might actually have a player on your bench that you might think in the beginning you're like, I would only play him if it's really necessary. But this is time of year you look on your bench, like, well, he actually needs to have a couple more snaps or a couple of this or this to go happen. He can get this. Some players on your bench might actually be playing a lot harder and playing a lot more to get what they want.
And that's some truth to it. Now, there was one year, which was surprising. I can't remember if it was, I want to say it was last year when Kelce did it. Kelce decided not to play a game, which ended up affecting his bonus just for the fact that he wanted to be healthy.
Oh yeah,
And it did matter because what happened last year? Everybody, does anybody not remember who owns the NFL? Who controls the refs? Who are the magic gods of all
Taylor
NFL?
Swift. Oh,
Oh,
oh, did did I spill the secret?
it's supposed to be the Kansas Chiefs and Mahomes. They don't want Taylor's name mentioned. They just say mention
Well,
Mahomes.
well. I know what it says, but I'm gonna say what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, they don't want to have her to go to a game that he loses because maybe she'll be upset, he'll
Well,
be upset.
you know what's crazy? Last week when Travis Kelce had a bad day, I found out it was because Taylor Swift wasn't there.
It's like the time they lost, she
Yeah.
wasn't there.
So
It's
I'm
starting to add up.
see, I am just saying.
Let's get out of the conspiracy thing here. I wanted to bring something up. The whole season we've talked about high scores, low scores, and things like that. Before I go into this next segment, and I know we're kind of rushing through things today, but I just want to ask the same question I ask every week to Austin. Pretty much, I think we've been pretty regularly on this. Who do you think the highest score was this week for week 15 for fantasy
Good
PPR? I'll
goodness.
give you a hint. I want to throw a hint out because I need to throw this hint out to you. It was a wide receiver on a team you would least expect it, but he's a good wide receiver. But it would be the least team expected.
Least team expected. Oh wait, is it one of the Jets receivers?
Yes.
Is it See, I got two in mind, but I'm afraid to say the wrong one
Just say he
because
went back to daddy.
oh, Matt, you're talking about Devonta Adams.
I'm sorry. I should. Devontae Adams will see me on the public road. He said, I'm going to show you whose daddy I am. Don't get my
well,
ass
what?
beat.
Well, once you said that, it made sense.
But no, that was impressive. I'm proud of him. The next guy, it's all the common ones again. Josh Allen, Jared Goff did well. Lamar Jackson, St. Brown, he's pretty much up there all the time. Mike Evans is back and a little healthy. He's getting it back. And there's our defensive players, David, for Levante David for Tampa Bay. He was the top scorer. He come in like 8. One guy I want to mention, he's a rookie defensive player. First time I seen him in the top scoring for a whole week. Just
Hmm.
say this week was the week he came out and fire was lit. He plays for Green Bay. His name's Edgerrin Cooper. We talked about him in our preseason. Me and Austin
Yeah,
does a little bit of covering. He went to Texas A&M. He got
yeah.
drafted by Green Bay.
I actually had drafted him in my rookie draft or
He,
rookie draft.
yep. So he started off a little slow. It looks like he kind of warmed up on week 5. He ran into some issues and then he kind of blew up on week 8, which was to a weaker team, Jacksonville. And then after that, he kind of fell off again and kind of didn't really do anything. But this last game with Seattle, he put up over 30 points. It's PPR. That's impressive for a defensive guy. So, wanted to
Yeah,
applaud him, get a little taste of that energy, is what I'd say. And then I just kind of wanted to cover that. Going into the top 12, like I said, it's now getting to the point where it's balanced, where there's not going to be much changes between who's in the top 12 and who's in the top 10. But there is going to be some slight movement, not huge movements, because now we're towards the end of the season. We're already into week 15. So from week 14 to week 15, the number one guy didn't change. That's Lamar Jackson. Jamar
hmm.
Chase and Josh Allen's they're playing switch the chair. So now it's this week Josh Allen, Jamar Chase 3, and then Jalen Hurts follows in by a 4th. He was 6 last week, and then Barkley still in the top 5. He was 4. Joe Burrow went from 5 to 6. Baker Mayfield, uh, he dropped. Nope, he went up. He climbed up to 7, and I think a lot of that does with Mike Evans being there. And I don't know what the hell that movement means, but trust me, you don't want to know what I was thinking. uh, Jaden Daniels still there. He moved up from 9 to 8. Zach Bond still up there. He's top 7. Zier Franklin, linebacker for Indianapolis. It's not a given that he's in the top 10. I mean, this guy is a beast.
He's a tackleaholic.
Yes, he is. He doesn't know how to share. He wants
No,
to
he
touch
doesn't.
all the men and not let no men be touched. Um, Jared Goff moved up into the top 12.
Uh,
Sam Arnold dropped out. Derrick Henry kind of slipped out. They're like in the top 15, so they didn't go far. They're just right below there. The other guy that kind of climbed up into the top 12 this week was St. Brown. He had a bang out week. I think a lot helped. Let's not say it helped, but I think there's a balance with passing with the two running backs there at the Lions. And when that balance is interrupted, you do see a little increase on the wide receiver end, whoever's the healthiest and or whoever's open really. And St. Brown took it this week. Jamin Winston, well, not with Jamin Winston. What's the other guy's name? I almost said it wrong. I'm so sorry. The guy that played at Alabama. But
oh, oh, damn. For some reason, I'm going blank now.
yeah, I did too. But either way, St. Brown did really well. Popped up there. He's in the top 12. So that's pretty impressive. We know who's going to be the top 5 at the end of the season. What me and Austin's going to do, we'll show you the order of the top scorers, and then we'll show you who we tiered out. Because see, when you tier someone out, you don't tier them out by what they scored last season, because every player is going to have a good day and a bad day. And
Mm-hmm.
and you look at more of the average of where they're always at and the impact they are to that team. Like your Jamal Chase, your Justin Jeffersons, they're always going to be your top tier. And they might not rank number one in scoring for the year, but they're always up in that group and they're always repeatable and they could be that number one guy. So it's always like, hey, do I want him? Do I need him? Yes. They're positive players to put on your team. They're not out. I think at this time, and I really honestly think that the fantasy world needs to start looking at Christian McCaffrey and start taking him down a notch just due to the fact of the injury.
I already have.
Yeah, so have I. I kind of dropped him down to like a tier three at the top end of tier three, just outside of tier two for the running backs. And that's more because of injuries. And
Well,
and maybe I did shoot his legs too much. Maybe I cut too much off, but I just
he's
think
got.
that's where he's at.
Well, it usually happens whenever you grace the cover of Madden, you get the Madden curse.
So, like I said earlier, this coming up week is going to be. Oh, remind everybody, there's no bye weeks the rest of the season. Everybody's playing, so you don't have to worry about players being out, except if injuries. So I have to get my other app open here because the one don't work on one device; it has to work on the other. So, so you got games on Thursday, one game on Thursday. You got a couple games on Saturday, and then you got your games on Sunday, and it goes all the way into one game on Monday. Thursday game, let's talk about it. We're going to talk about the Broncos clinching a chance at the playoffs. They've already clinched it, correct? Or are they going to clinch it on this win? I got to look it up. I think they clinched it
I
already.
thought they already done clinched it.
Yeah, they done clinched it. All right, so they're playing against the Chargers. J.K. Dobbins this last weekend has now been officially put on IR. He is out. He's not coming back for the rest of the season, per the notes. Justin Herbert was at practice, but limited. He looks to be a go. He played through his ankle injury during the game, but he didn't do no rushing, didn't do any fancy stuff, stayed in the pocket, played the ball the proper way. I believe we'll
Hmm.
see that. I think that's going to be their downfall in the game because if the Broncos open up and they start getting that ball going and that defense pressures them Chargers, I think at the end of the day, I'm going to have to go with the Broncos. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to go with the Broncos on this one.
All right. And let's talk about the nightmare on Saturday. There's two Saturday games. One's going to be the great game to watch. The other one is another great game to watch. Only one likable team. Um, and that's only because I think they're a likable team. The other team I think is a Taylor Swift lovable team. And that's the Kansas City Chiefs playing against got some feedback going on here. I got Kansas City playing Texans. So Patrick Mahomes is questionable, but he did participate full practice, so that tells me he's not going to be out. Stephon Diggs is still out on IR. I don't think he's coming back the rest of the season. I have not seen any notes saying he's going to make it back.
I did. I would definitely monitor Patrick Mahomes though, because they did say that they're willing to shut him down a week if he's not 100%.
And that would make sense. I wouldn't blame them if they did shut him down this week. This would probably be the week you'd want to shut him down against a defense like that. I mean, that
But
could be.
but now, well, it doesn't really matter because fantasy wise, Patrick Mahomes hasn't really been doing that as well. So it's not like you're really going to be hurting. I think the only person that might take a little beating would be, well, actually, doesn't really matter.
No.
Carson Wentz can still they can still sling it, and they're going to be mainly slinging it to Travis Kelce and maybe whoever else is open in the receiving core.
Yeah. I'm going to go with, I lost the whole app. Love it. I am going to pick Houston.
Yep. Even if course, oh, okay. Even if Carson Wentz starts, I'm I'm still gonna go with the Chiefs. I mean, they have too much power on their side.
Yeah, but I also believe Houston's kind of coming back, doing their thing. So I think it's gonna be a good game either
I
way.
it's gonna be a good game, but at the end of the day, the Chiefs always somehow come with a win. So I'm not even gonna bet against it.
Well, now we're gonna walk into the game with Pittsburgh and the Ravens, and I'm gonna just tell you straight up, Ravens got this. Uh,
Do they though?
huh?
Do they though?
I
Ma-
mean, they can slip up.
Lamar's 1-4 against the Steelers,
I'm looking at injuries,
or
questionables,
1-8,
struggles.
whatever.
Huh?
I was just counting how many times he's lost against them.
I know you're doing that thing. That'd be like me giving up on hope of my team if they lost 4 times in a row. It doesn't matter. I'm still gonna have hope they could win.
I mean, yeah, there's still a chance. Obviously, there's a chance for them to win, but Mike Tomlin just always has Jim Harbaugh's number.
Yeah. Well, then we're just gonna quickly cover the next game. New
Mm,
York Giants against Atlanta. We know Tommy DeVito is going to be starting. Drew Lock is out. I'm going to pick Atlanta. I think they should be able to handle their business.
as long as Kirk Cousins will throw 5 more interceptions and gives the Giants an actual chance, then the Falcons will win it.
Well, if they give the Giants a chance, we're going to see Tommy DeVito become a hero again.
Hey, it's happened before.
It did last year. Um, so going on to that, Arizona against Carolina. I think Arizona is going to win their game against Carolina.
Yep.
And I honestly don't care how injured Detroit Lions are. They're gonna handle that hot mess that they
Oh,
call the Chicago Bears.
they're going to demolish the Bears.
So now we're going into the Bengals against Cleveland, the two Ohio teams battling it out. Garrett is questionable for an eye injury. Not sure how he received that one. I could tell you, but it probably wasn't the appropriate thing to say in the show. He pulled out too quick, hit him in the eye.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Oh, I mean, it's a give or take, but I think the Bengals are going to win. I think the
Yeah,
Bengals.
I'm going with the Bengals. I don't see the offense for the Browns being too hot with Thomas as the quarterback.
Yeah. I know Anthony Richardson lost Pierce this week, but I don't think that's going to kill the Indianapolis Colts. As long as Jonathan Taylor can hold on to balls and not drop them, I believe they can
Um,
win this game against Tennessee.
I mean, the Titans are literally gonna be benching. They're talking about benching Will Levis and starting Mason Rudolph. So,
They should have benched him a year ago.
wow, I don't know. I just don't like it. You know, that Brett Favre mentality can only get you so far.
Yeah.
So,
But now, when you say that, Brett Favre was a different kind of person than Will Levis. Brett Favre
yeah,
had talent.
yes, but at the same time, it took a special group of coaches in order to stick with that.
True. True. I can't argue that, but he was good. The Rams against New Jersey. I think the Rams will win. And then here's a good little battle on Sunday. Jalen Hurts against Jaden Daniels. Whew, 9-5, 12-2 team. You're going up against the number one points per game allowed, 6 total yards.
I'm going with the Eagles.
I am too. I'm looking at this, even though I want the Commanders to. Well, I don't want the Commanders to win. I'm an Eagles fan, so that's stupid even to say.
Whoa,
Uh,
whoa!
I
Well,
just
that's
like Jaden
new.
Daniels. That's the person I like.
Okay,
That was just rude of me. That was horrible.
and you're
Uh,
even wearing green.
I know. Minnesota against Seahawks. Seahawks. I do agree. You are right sometimes on that. They are out there one moment as a greatness, and next minute they're a hot mess. Um, I'm gonna have to go with Minnesota. I think they're gonna handle their business this week. I don't see any reason why they couldn't. Geno
No,
Smith
they're
is questionable. Kenneth Walker is out. Now, when Kenneth Walker is out, if you guys got Charbonnet, you need to be playing him. That every time Kenneth Walker's out, Cabernet blows up. So, is Cabernet injured? That's what I need to look up. Hmm.
no.
Yep.
I think he's okay. But yeah, I'm still going with Minnesota. They're too hot right now.
And see, that's going to be a benefit for me because I got Zach in one of the playoff games. So this week I'm going to probably put him in a flex position because the last time I left him out, he scored like 28, 38 points. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
he can have a chance to do that again.
yeah, especially against Minnesota. I could see that. Buffalo against New England, there's no question. I don't have no doubt that Buffalo will walk away with that win.
I think they'll do more than walking.
Miami against San Francisco, another hot mess. I'm going with Miami because I think that hot mess might actually win something this week.
Mm, I'm gonna have to go with the 49ers on that one.
All
It's
right, talk
just
about someone that's in the hot seat right now. Antonio Pierce, coach for the Raiders. Yes, you're
I
under contract. We understand that. But 2 wins.
I think we have two coaches that are in the hot seat on this game.
Yeah, they both need to be fired at the end of the season. But Doug Pete, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I'm not going to defend the guy. He couldn't do nothing down in Jacksonville.
Just stop. Just he starts off good and then he just starts sucking at the end.
So Minshew is out. Um, I think Connell's out, ain't he? Or no, he's back. He's back. He's not injured no more, so he's playing. He's starting. Trevor Lawrence is out, and Mac Jones is starting. I think if I had a choice between Aiden Connell and Mac Jones as leading the pack, I'm going to lean more towards Mac Jones. I'm going to have to go with the Jaguars. I'm going to take Jaguars over the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jaguars because they have Brian Thomas Jr.
That's what I was looking at. Brian John Thomas Jr. with Mac Jones should be somewhat
And
better than.
we can say what we want to. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is one of the best rookie wide receivers that has came out in the draft so far. From
Still have Malik Neighbors above him.
mm, that's fine. You can if you want to, but I mean,
But see, Malik Neighbors has got injured a couple times where Brian Thompson did. So yeah, I see the
but
difference.
and you want to know what's the best ability for players? Availability.
That's right. So the next thing we got is Tampa Bay against Dallas. We all know Cooper Rush is starting because Dak's out. I think the Buccaneers with that with Mike Evans back and all, I think they're going to handle their business. I don't think Dallas is going to be able to keep up with them.
Well, I think it'll be a close game,
Oh,
but
it'll be a close game, but the edge will go to Tampa.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Tampa too.
So the what has shocked me the most is I know Derek Carr is out for the season, but I believe they named Spencer Rattler as the starter for the next game. I'm just double checking. Yep.
Mm,
Uh, so with that
either
being the case, unless they feel like he's done changed, at the end of the day, I'm sorry guys, if I'm going to give you a proper pick for you to listen to, I'm going to pick the logical team to win this game per paper, and that is the Green Bay Packers. I don't see why they couldn't pull off this win. Even if Derek Carr was playing, I would still probably go with the Packers.
yeah, I think they're gonna win. I mean, you can put Spencer Rattler in there, or you could put the other guy in there. It's not it's not gonna look too good. Yes, Spencer Rattler did was on the verge of trying to get the Saints to come back, but the Commanders just could have actually put that game away a lot sooner if they would have actually put it away.
Yeah, see, if you look at their wide receivers in a PPR league on their average point scored versus the wide receivers for Green Bay, it's like the numbers are totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Running backs match evenly, tight ends match evenly. Well, Kraft has a little bit better edge over the three tight ends that New Orleans has. Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm sticking with the Packers. So
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the highest score for the Green Bay game is going to be against the Saints? I think it's going to be 36.
Really?
And most of
I
that's going to be Green Bay.
I actually put down 38.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is impressive. All right. So this is week 16. Good
Mhm.
God. Can't believe we're that far. Um, this will be the second round in most playoffs. Both of my redraft, well, one of my dynasties, I made the playoffs and moved on to the next round. One of my redrafts, I made one and made going into the second round. One of my other redrafts that I made the playoffs, I didn't make it out of the first round. I got eliminated immediately. That happens sometimes. And then the other ones, God bless their souls, they were losers all year long. None of them made it to the playoffs, and they're playing in what you call us like backup prizes or toilet bowls. So we won't talk about them other teams. Let's just
Hey,
talk about the three teams that are
you
successful.
get you get some good draft picks though.
Oh yeah, I'll get some good draft picks on some of them leagues this year. Not the 101. I'm not that bad. Close. I might got a 102,
No,
but I don't think I got a 101 on any of them yet.
I
Uh,
don't think so.
no, no, no. That was one reason why I got one of my draft picks back, which will be a 102 this year. So, second pick ain't bad. I mean, the second pick can get me something. It'd
Oh,
probably get me
def.
better than what the 101 would get me.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure there's some people that will make that same mistake.
All right, let's just do a little quick segment on the college part, and we'll probably call it a night. I downloaded that app. I think I got the right app. You said it was on ESPN called Bowl, right? We might not be in the same league, but we can still play along in a way.
Nah, it's still gonna add up.
Yeah. So I missed the first two games that was played.
Oh, I did too. So
Yeah,
fret not.
we missed the Jacksonville State Tigers versus South Carolina State Bulldogs, which Jackson State Tigers won, and we didn't pick the South Alabama Jaguars against uh, Western Michigan Broncos. Let me turn my head this way. I didn't even realize I was turned that way. You guys, it's called a side profile of the
Mm,
Ralph. Um, it's not impressive at all. I know. We won't have to
mm.
discuss that. All right, let me turn this way here. All right, here we go. I'm looking at it now, reading it as I look into the camera. I went ahead and picked out my picks, and I want you guys to hear me out. Now, Austin tends to judge me by favoritism sometimes, and I'm going to pick it out like I see it. So at the end of the day, we'll just see what happens and we'll go from there. But we're not going to start with the playoff part because you got three games that are playoffs, or is it four games this week? It's four games that are playoffs. Um, did I say it right? Yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Whew, I'm losing my mind. But let's start off with the little teams. Let's start off with the Tuesday's game, which is tonight, right? Locks in at
Yep.
8 o'clock. Oh, they're starting right now. West Virginia Mountaineers versus Memphis Tigers. I am picking West Virginia Mountaineers. I think they should be able to handle that team for Memphis.
I went with Memphis.
Love it. Uh, so the next one is the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, and I hate them on Madden college
Bruh.
football, or not
Mm.
Madden college football, but college NCAA, whatever just came out on football. I hate that team every time I match up with them. Uh, Playing the computer, not the individuals that play, which I haven't met a person that played with the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers yet. Have you?
I haven't made it to them yet. Give it time.
Oh yeah, they're horrible to play, but then I suck. So every team's horrible. Um, I picked James Madison, Duke, just due to the fact that I've lost so many times to the Hilltoppers. Um,
Yeah, I went with James Madison.
no, actually, I do think James Madison is a better team. I was being kind of like jokingly.
Yeah.
Carolina against UNLV Rebels. I'm sorry. I could not pick the Rebels over California. I have watched California play this year. Yes, there's not a big Power Five team. Yes, they're ACC, but I'm telling you, they're going to handle their own. And no one bailed out of the bowl game from that team. So that's a dedicated team. They're going to be there. And I just think the Golden Bears are going to do their job. They do actually, they're not that bad. I mean, I know it's only 6-6, but they played Power Five schedule. UNLV played, and I know we don't really talk about that because the NIL, but it still does matter. Power Fives do get more of the NIL guys.
For
Um,
now,
yeah, for now. Georgia Southern Eagles against Sam Houston. I loved Sam Houston. I'm just gonna have to pick them. I think they're just a better team.
I'm going. Well, first of all, I am going with the Rebels on the other pick, but I am also going with Sam Houston.
All right. So we're gonna roll into Friday's game. It's gonna start at 11 a.m. early because most people are gonna start getting out of work. It's Christmas time. We're all gonna be off enjoying ourselves. Some are not. Some have to work through the holidays. Bless your soul. I remember them days when I was younger. Um, and I still kind of work through the holidays. I mean, I'm not totally 100% off. Uh, Ohio Bobcats, a horrible team out of Ohio. They are. And they're going against a great team called the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. These guys are going to come up there and they're going to show these boys how to play football or down there, wherever they're playing at. They're going to beat the crap out of them, honestly. No, and I really do not like the Bobcats. For one, I'm a University Toledo fan. Go Rockets. And I'm an Ohio State fan. Neither one of them teams like the Bobcats. So we're good. But I'm just down the road from Jacksonville State Gamecocks, and I love them. I've actually been to a few of their games. They're a great team. I'm glad they moved it up a level. They're definitely doing their good. They won their conference champion this year. So watching them play over, and I know I hardly ever pick outside the MAC teams normally, but in this case, in this example, and the team they're going up against, I'm sorry. I don't think there's a MAC team other than Toledo that could beat the Gamecocks. And that's just my opinion. That's probably being sarcastic. So I'm going with the Gamecocks.
I'm going with Ohio.
I know you're being sarcastic. You got to be being sarcastic. Please tell me you're being sarcastic. You're
No,
from
I'm
almost nearly the same city. You got to be sarcastic.
and just like you, I'm gonna call it how I see it, and I'm gonna have to go with Ohio on this one.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna let you. I'm taking a picture of this shit.
Do it.
Ohio time 7:12 p.m. All right, I'm just marking all this down so we can reference this later. Um,
Okay,
I'm serious. All
because
right, and
Jacksonville State's head coach is going somewhere else, right?
I didn't think he'd leave until after the bowl game.
Well, regardless, he's either leaving. I don't know. I mean, heck, players aren't able to transfer now,
I
from what I
believe he's going to
noticed.
take some of his players. I think at the end of the day, you're not going to see some of them guys. He's going to be just like the guy that went to Indiana, took half of Madison Duke with him when he left after the bowl game.
Hmm.
Um, all right, so I already know who Austin's going to pick. Let me do this for Austin, and then I'm going to tell you who I'm going to pick, and then I'm going to let Austin correct me because I'm going to pretend I'm on Austin. Tulane against Florida Gators. He's going to say the Green Wave's going to win, and I'm going to say the Gators are going to win. Who's going to actually win, Austin?
I actually had the Gators.
Oh, thank God. We're back on the same page. We got there. I was worried. I was sweating that bullet right there. I was like, come on now. Don't pull
Look,
this one out
look,
on me.
just because you have a vendetta against Ohio doesn't mean I do.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I love it. I love it. All right. Let me throw the shocker on you now. I sat down and before I speak and let my tongue roll off of my mouth like I do, and Austin will tell you, I do a pretty good job of letting that tongue flop out.
Mm.
um, we are going to look at something before I speak, and this will you'll God damn, get it right. Hold on 1 minute. I had it brought up, but when you got on, I had started looking up something else because I was multitasking like I do. So I got to bring it back up just real quick. It won't take me but a second because I want them side by side when I'm reading this off. So you're like, why do you come to this conclusion, Ralph? And you're going to say, Ralph, this does not make no sense because this is not what we talked about a week ago. Because we've had this conversation. But then I said, something's fishy about this, and I need to look something up before I go and start rambling on about this and that. And then I didn't really look at all the total facts. And I hate like I know people don't call me out because I'm not that important. Trust me, when ESPN is talking, they're not talking about Ralph Crabtree from this show by any means. They're just talking about the general of us that have this conception. So let's just get that right. And then I think some of them actually agrees, but let's not even say that yet. Okay, hold on. All right, so let's talk about this game that's coming up. It's going to happen at Notre Dame. It's going to be a 7 o'clock game, 12:20 with Indiana. Okay. I've looked at both of their schedules. Now I'm looking at it again, and now I'm rethinking what I thought. So that's why you do this. There is a difference between the two teams. Maybe not much of a difference. One difference is the game that Indiana lost to was a close game to Ohio State. Well, no, it wasn't even really a close game. It was 38-15. Ohio State won. But they did turn around and they did beat Michigan by 5 points, which Ohio State lost to Michigan, which was a horrible sight. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois 16-14. So it was a pretty close game, pretty lost. And all the other games, they pretty much dominated by like extraordinary points. There was no question they were winning all the way for everybody they played, from Navy, Florida State, Army, USC, University of Virginia, Georgia Tech, Stanford, Louisville, Miami, Ohio, Purdue, Texas A&M. They just pretty much handled everybody. That's Notre Dame. And then you go over here and you look at the Indiana schedules, and they played FIU. They literally just slapped them to pieces. Then they played Western Illinois. It was 77-3. It's like basketball scores against, which it should be. And then UCLA, they dominated them 42-13. Charlotte, they beat them 52-14. Maryland, they clobbered them 42-28. Northwestern, they beat them up. These are lower ranked Big Ten teams too. And then Nebraska, they literally manhandled 56-7. Ohio State struggled with that team there for a minute. Washington 31-17. I mean, they won all their games. Michigan State, Michigan, Purdue. Purdue couldn't even score a point. They scored 66 points. Indiana did. Now you're playing in Notre Dame, which is in Indiana. I don't know if folks know this, but it's basically an in-state rivalry here. I struggle with who's going to get that. And then I go back and I look at the play, and I honestly think the coach is smart. Players are good. I do not think Notre Dame would ever, if they did win the game, they probably won't make it past the second level. So I went ahead and picked Indiana to win the game against Notre Dame.
I chose Notre Dame.
I figured you did. So the next one will be easy to discuss, not so much elaboration and jumping into here. This is a quick one here. Penn State against SMU. I love SMU. I love the fire they gave. I thought they deserved to be in for the fact that they were able to come back, even though they did lose. I think they made an awesome comeback, only lost by like 3 points. All year they dominated. The ACC belonged to them. The bottom line, they did. I mean, they handled all their teams with no problems. Penn State, I just think it's a better team. I think Penn State will end up coming out with the victory. SMU is going to lose.
Yeah, I chose Penn State.
The next great matchup, and this is going to be a good game. This is also on Saturday. God, these are all like what we got. One at, okay, so the Penn State's at 11 a.m. The Notre Dame's at 7 p.m. Okay, that's on Friday. The Notre Dame games is on Friday. Thank God. I was about to say they got two of these games side by side. All right, so Friday, I'm going to have to start watching. Texas and Clemson are going to go at it at 3 o'clock, and they're going to be at Texas. Texas has got that. I don't see Clemson. Everybody's talked about how Texas has not really played the strong end of the SEC and they got lucky to get where they're at. No, I disagree. The only team they lost to was Georgia. Yes, you could argue that, but at the end of the day, I think when I look at the two comparisons of the conferences, I think Texas is stronger, and some of the teams that they did beat would clobber Clemson. So, I mean, South Carolina, for instance, they beat Clemson. So, Texas played South Carolina and won. So, I don't see that being an issue. So, that's really not an argument. So, I think Texas is going to win. They're going to be in their home stadium advantage. Um, these next matchup, I hate to talk about my own team, especially during matchups like this, but it is a pick 'em, and I have to give you a pick 'em. I'm not going to get into details why I went to pick 'em, but I'm going to tell you this: these teams in the entire football history has only met one time, 1996 in the Gator Bowl. Yes, Ohio State did lose. It was 20-14. It was not like a blowout game, but it wasn't at the horseshoe either. It was at a bowl game in a field. You're going to the horseshoe. Yes, Michigan won in the horseshoe. That's a little different atmosphere than Tennessee going up in there at Ohio State. So Ohio State has a pretty good record in the horseshoe. If you look it up, they're the only other team that really can come there and beat them is Michigan. Um, and that's just because it's a rivalry. So at the end of the day, it's being played at the horseshoe, and it's going to have more Ohio State guys there, and it's going to be loud. It's going to be one of the largest stadiums that Tennessee ever played in because they have the second largest or third largest stadium, I think, or second largest. I know Michigan's bigger than them, but they got a larger stadium than any SEC team. Um, and I know he's Googling it right now, but I am pretty sure that there's nobody.
Michigan has the biggest
Yeah, I knew
stadium.
Michigan had the biggest. Who's the second?
Penn State,
And then who's the third?
Ohio State.
Yep. So there you go.
Then it's Texas A&M,
Yep.
LSU,
Yep.
and Tennessee.
Yep.
And they only have like maybe less than 1,000 more seats than
A
Tennessee
thousand
does.
people make a difference.
Bull crap.
At the end of the day, I just don't see Tennessee winning. I'm picking Ohio State.
Uh, Way to get to the point, Ralph. Um, well, for one, Texas is going to beat Clemson. Let me get that out of the way. And then I do think Ohio State does. I think they do beat Tennessee.
And then the next one, because I just want to get off this subject so quick. Coastal Carolina against UTSA. And now I'm not picking this because I like you, Austin. I'm picking Coastal Carolina because they can actually win.
Yeah, because you
So if you
like
people
that
don't know,
team.
Austin likes Coastal Carolina because he plays with them on the college game and he beats the shit out of me with them. So at the end of the day, I was like hesitant about picking them, but in reality, I have to know they're good because I played against him and seen how good the players are. And then plus, I watched them on TV; they're pretty decent. So they're going to win. They're going to beat the UTSA Roadrunners.
Yeah, I went with them. I can't go against them.
Thank you. And then the next one was a hard one I fought against. I sat there and I mean, Fresno State is a pretty fiery team. But then I look at Northern Illinois Huskies. That's a tough team. That's a defense that's different. And if you're not prepared for them, they will light you up. And I don't care how fluting you are. I just look at that West Coast team versus a mid American team. And at the end of the day, I think Northern Illinois Huskies are going to win that.
Hmm I got Northern Illinois as well.
So we're not going to pick all the bowl games. The last one we're going to stop at is the Tuesday game, and then we'll come back and pick we'll go ahead and do the Thursday games so we can get them out of the way too, and then we'll do the other ones later if you want to, or if you want
Yeah.
to.
No,
Okay,
no. I was gonna suggest we split the bowl games up after,
yeah,
and let's wait and do the rest of them because we're gonna get into the bowl games where we don't even know who's advancing into the other rounds. So
yeah.
I suggest we stop like at least right here, and then we can pick up later.
Well, we got to do the Tuesday because Tuesday will happen before the show.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can do that.
So Tuesday's game is South Florida Bulls against. Now, when I say Tuesday, I'm talking about 12/24. Okay, guys,
Next Tuesday.
next Tuesday. We already talked about this Tuesday. Next Tuesday game will be South Florida Bulls against San Jose State Spartans. And I love South Florida Bulls. I do. I really do. But I just looked through the record, looked through what I've seen, and I think San Jose State's going to win that one.
Yeah, I went with San Jose as well.
So we definitely only disagreed on one bowl game, really. Well, actually two, and one really kind of like I marked that down and put it on the calendar for us to discuss later when it happens.
Just because you hate Ohio doesn't mean I do. I have nothing against Ohio besides Ohio State.
You only say that because I'm such a bad Ohio State fan.
Oh, and it's so good.
And it's so good. You know, I get ramped up. I'm like the guy that calls in sick when it happens. I'm like, I can't make it into work. It's a horrible day.
Yeah.
So my wife was talking to her aunt on the phone when Ohio State was losing to Michigan. She's like, I think he's going to call the doctor in a minute. I think he's going to have to go to Dr. Go. Like, really? You think I'm that bad? She said, every year you get sick. It's like, well, but it's always the time of season too. See, I didn't get sick this year. It wasn't, see, I finally proved, well, okay, whatever. I think I already come to consensus once I realized what was going on.
Yeah, it's
We don't have a
probably
good
a good
kicker.
idea.
And we have a quarterback that kind of chokes sometimes.
Well, hopefully he don't choke on this one.
Yeah, the kicker and the quarterback, please show up. Please show up. I'll play the Eminem song that says "Show up." I mean, something. Please show up. Stand up. You heard about the putting National Guards out to block out the Tennessee players from carrying the goalpost to the Ohio River, right? No, I'm just kidding. That ain't true.
Don't be surprised if they do, though.
That'd be funny. But hey guys, if you like the content, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We're getting closer to the off season, so we're finally finishing it out. Me and Austin will talk out throughout the whole sports thing through the end, and then we'll kind of change our schedule up just a little bit, and we'll start talking about rankings and
Get
rookies.
into the off season mode.
Yeah, so the off seasons we might not be releasing on a Wednesday because now I've got better at editing. I like the idea when we do the show, it's completely out there right then. I don't like to sit on it. I used to do that, sit on a show for like 2 days and play around with the editing because I was learning. But now I'm to the point where I just throw it in there, cut out what I don't want, and we're out there. This is Tuesday, date 12/17. Yes, I can't remember the date. Tonight, football is being played for college. Bowl games already happening. Remember, there's 2 Saturday games. Don't blow your mind, especially the guys that are in playoffs. I hate as a commissioner getting a phone call. I didn't know they were playing on Saturday. It's Christmas, Thanksgiving.
At that
By
point,
this time, you need to know.
they should have already seen the schedule 20,000 times by then.
Yeah, but everybody got to use an excuse why they didn't put a player in.
Well, you know what? That's their fault.
That's right.
They need to be better managers.
Yeah. But definitely excited about the football season. I still got 2 in the running for the playoffs. My goal is to win these 2 championships.
I still have one in the playoffs, in the redraft one, because I had a bye week last week.
Well, you're also in the stack up league. You have a team that still survived in the stack 'em.
Oh, cool.
You need to go check him out. He beat his counterpart, so he needs to move on.
I'll go take a look.
Yeah, the one guy had 3 teams that made it, and we knocked both of his teams out. You and me did. Now I got to go against his brother that's on a bye week, and you got to go against his other team, and you actually have a pretty good chance of beating that team. I looked at the matchup. You set your roster right. It could be you and me in the championship.
Well, just because you said that, I'll go take a look.
Yeah, because it make me feel good if I can come on this show and say I handled you.
It's about the only time you'd be able to say that.
All right. You guys have a good night. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like button. And what do you always say?
Make sure you share because sharing is caring.
That's right. All right.